Welcome to On the Firing Line on the information station, AM 1440 KUHL. Information, education, news, and politics of firearms and ammunition is found here. If you have any questions, call us at 1-888-625-1440. That's 1-888-625-1440.
After 214 days in a Mexican prison, Sergeant Andrew Tamorisi crossed the U.S. Mexican border Friday night, boarding a private jet for Florida shortly after 9 p.m. after a strong diplomatic push appeared to help convince a judge to release the former Marine on humanitarian grounds. After reviewing the ruling, Morrissey family spokesman Jonathan Franks said the judge acted on a recommendation from the PGR, the Mexican Attorney General's office. In that motion, the prosecutor essentially withdrew the charges, Franks said. Moments later, the judge trial issued an acquittal in Andrew's case, calling for an immediate and absolute release. His release comes after a lengthy, closed trial and a congressional hearing in September, highly critical of the Obama administration's efforts to secure his release and Mexico's refusal to let him go. Morrissey said he made an innocent mistake that evening. He crossed into Tijuana with 3 weapons in his truck on March 31st. The totality of diplomacy, the judicial process, the legal strategy, and the importance of the American-Mexican relationship resulted in Andrew's release, Richardson said. And now we have this great outcome. Andrew's coming home. He was happy. He was smiling. He was looking good. His spirits are high, Richardson told Fox News, adding that Morrissey said he wants a steak dinner and stone crabs.
Yeah, and he deserves it. You are on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440. So that's some pretty darn good news.
Yes, it is.
You know, we've, this guy has been over there for a long time. Morrissey.
No, let me help you with that. That H is silent. It's Tamorisi.
Tamorisi. God, I'm
Tamorisi.
sorry, I blew it.
No, it's all right.
Hey, but I can do that. I have one of those last names nobody can pronounce either.
Yeah, that's right. The guy, it's kind of difficult.
To Vegas.
Yeah.
I can get away with this.
But it was 200. Actually, it was there for 240 something days. I think it was 245 days.
Too long.
Way too long.
You know,
way too long just to have a loaded gun in your car. I mean,
right,
it's
and
crazy.
that's the thing. It's like he made a mistake, and I understand at the U.S.-Mexican border, there's a lot of guys with guns in their cars saying it was a mistake. Let's face it, and that's the ugliness of it down there. But I think he legitimately, I think he was in the right. He messed up. The fact that we had to wait 250 days ish is ridiculous to get him back.
Truth of the matter is Obama or even the Attorney General Eric Holder could have taken a look into this situation, determined the merit for it, and acted accordingly. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He didn't have to stay that long.
It seemed like an easy open and shut case.
It did.
It really does, and it got drawn out, and it also, it sounds like the Mexican government didn't help. They didn't make it any easier. But at that point, whatever, send in SEAL Team 6, go get him. That's another country holding one of our service guys. I mean, what the heck? So, I'm glad it didn't resort to that, but I'm also kind of bummed out that it took so long.
I think that was the most disappointing part,
Yeah.
that it took so long for somebody in this predicament to get through this.
Yeah.
But I can also understand on the flip side, you have to be very careful with situations like this, because how many times have we heard, oh, but that was my boy and he was such a good boy.
Yeah, he would
have never done anything like that.
Exactly, and you have to always kind of be cautious of that type of stuff.
Right.
And this kind of is funny. Just 2 or 3 days ago, I was reading Dan Bilzerian was actually negotiating with the governor of, I think, New Mexico to get the release of this guy. And now here we are 3 days later, and he's out.
I read the same thing, and I actually thought that might have had something to do
Who
with
knows?
it.
I kind of would like to think that.
I thought that one of the representatives from New Mexico was one of the people that helped get this release.
So maybe, because, that family has lots of money. He's got pull. Who knows? So one can hope that he helped him out. That'd be cool.
That would be fantastic to know. Here. The truth of the matter is, though, is he should have never had to go to that point.
Right,
It
right.
should have been our government.
Yeah, we know it wasn't President Obama who got him out.
Right.
Yeah,
We're
and that's
absolutely
for
positive
sure.
of that.
Right. And that's really
Or the
what
governor
matters.
of New Mexico, which is a Democrat. We
Right.
know that for a fact. So,
Unbelievable. But it's good to know that this fine American is back home and he can start dealing with the healing process after the war. Or the war for all of us, I guess, is still going on. And
Yeah, well,
it'll be
his
going on
war
forever for him.
yeah, he suffers from PTSD too. Severely.
It's great though that he's going to be home. He's going to get that steak, some stone crabs, and be able to visit with family and
Yeah, take it
kinda
easy for a little
take
bit.
a break and get his stuff
I'll
together.
buy him dinner.
Yeah, come on out to Santa Maria.
Yeah,
dude.
we'll put on a Santa Maria barbecue for you. Come on
Yeah.
out.
That would be awesome. All right, we do have an interesting show lined up today, as usual. We're going to be talking this week about voting. I mean, after all, Tuesday is the next big hurrah for voting for all of us here.
Yep.
It's going to be happening across the United States. It's going to make or break America, in my eyes.
Well, it does. It is a pivotal election. Very much so. With all the stuff that we see, over the past, even just the past 6 months, which isn't a very large amount of time, but there's been a lot of controversy in that past 6 months. This is kind of one of our opportunities to kind of, get it right at least.
Well,
Or
start
try.
the take back, anyways.
There you go. There you go.
What do you think, Kanani? Do you think we have a chance?
Yeah, actually, I do think that we do, especially since a lot of the statistics show that Republicans and conservatives vote more often during midterm elections versus Democrats. And if they all turn out, it will potentially heavily swing in our direction.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And it's kind of interesting, too. We've been talking before the show started. Even Jim was mentioning that we have a lot of kids being polled now. I guess you had mentioned the Harvard
Yeah,
polling.
the Harvard polling had said from 18 to 35 that they now vote. They have switched their opinion of America and say that the Republicans can do a better job. And it wasn't even close. These are a lot of people that did vote for, of course, President Obama, not twice, but some of them could have been twice, but some once, and some just starting voting. But they think the Republicans can do a better job at our economy and running the government than the Democrats. And it was a big difference. It was, I can't remember the numbers, but I know it was 47 or 48 to 39. I remember 39.
That's a huge
That's a
increase.
Yeah,
big
that's
difference
a
from what
big
it
bonus.
was.
It's amazing as some of these kids get into college, and of course they're being taught by their professors who are a lot
man.
liberal.
They're not patriots. These
Right.
professors don't profess anything for.
Right.
I was watching Mogadishu today. I was watching Black Hawk Down today, and I was thinking about that professor who came out and said we would like to have another Mogadishu when they were talking about
What a
the
dirtbag.
last. I know you're thinking to yourself, what a horrible thing to say. So we could, 30 or 40,000 American soldiers could be killed. What kind of patriot is that?
I don't get it, but it's a good sign to see that some of these college kids don't have to pay attention to what their professors say. I mean, it's one thing to learn, but you don't have to believe in their political views.
Right.
Well, I think it's more than that, actually. I think that generation between 18 and 35, that 6 years that Obama's already in president, they would have gone from being in high school, going right into college, and potentially have graduated from college to live out their own life, and then maybe have voted because they were very optimistic about what the future holds and fell for all the hope and change. Once they get out on their own, they'll see life isn't quite
It's
happiness,
simple. Yeah.
right? It's not as exactly of what they're selling, and seeing the realistic, of what they're going to have to pay for, what their taxes, trying to find a job, suddenly it hits them, and they very well may not agree with what they've got going on, so
I
they would
agree with
change
you,
their
Kanani.
views and ideas.
I was going to go right
Yeah.
along with that and
Yeah.
say that too. I think that's the reason. Now they're out in the world and they're thinking hope and change, and they're saying, hey, you know what? You can keep the change.
yeah.
Because
Well,
it did not happen.
We saw rates go up for the schools.
Yeah, especially Obamacare is going to
and
go
they-
up for their age 73% over this year.
Right.
Yeah, it's humongous.
Then you get these kids, I think, like what Kanani's saying here. They've got responsibilities of paying back loans. They've
Right.
got to now take
Right.
care of a home, car purchase, insurance, health insurance, which is mandated now.
Right.
a number of different things. And when they get into the real world and they have to start putting these things in order to be able to take care of themselves, work a job, and pay back all the loans and do everything, they start to realize, hey, look, my life is like a micro of the United States in a sense, because, hey, they've got loans they've got to pay out. There's certain things that have to be done. This has to be done to get this done. And they start realizing, well, wait a second, we can't just keep spending money and getting new cell phones, getting new
Right.
cars,
Right,
Right.
right.
and everything else to the point where, hey, we can't do it, but we're going to do it anyways.
Well, what they're seeing too, and another thing I want to, I'm sorry, but Connie made a couple of good points. And I just want to jump on those. Is one of them is that now they are paying for things, and they're realizing they're paying more.
Right.
You know, and they're watching other people, you know, like unemployment or whatever. You know, I'm not saying people, because some people have to be on unemployment, but they're seeing that,
Right.
physically viewing it and saying, hey, wait a minute, man, where's my change? Where's my great job? I got to hustle to get a job. I got to hustle to do this. It's not, nobody's giving me anything, but yet they do see it. They see it from other people getting free things and free this and free that. But, you know, people who want, you know, one of the things that I am seeing a little slight change in, not dramatically, but let me ask you guys this. I've been watching just the last few days really how the polls are changing and how things are going. And I did notice something, that the trend is that we're starting to turn to say, you know, I don't want to ask what my country can do for me. I want to do what I can possibly do for myself and for my. I'm seeing a slight change in that. I don't know if you guys are, but I have seen that just slightly. I'd say just in the last few. I'd say the last few months. It started to, before. Hey, last year it seemed to me like everybody was looking for a handout. Remember they're giving all the free cell phones and all that stuff, and oh my gosh, you were saying, man, we're getting to be a nation to give you what do you want.
Sure, you know, and they might be at that point where it's beginning to see the whiplash between what we saw our grandparents as being the greatest generation, then you saw the hippie
Right.
generation, and now we're back, potentially swooping right back to another group of individuals who believe and feel the same way as the greatest generation had lived.
I really hope so.
Me too,
I
me
mean,
too.
that would be the grandest thing ever, because then we have that chance to get back on foot and get back on track. And show the world that we do have the best country, the best ability, the greatest place where your dreams can come true, and move forward on that direction. Because I'll tell you what, the hope and change never did any good.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing to aspire to go back to that
Right.
greatest generation. Like you said, I mean, that they don't call them that because they weren't.
Yeah.
You know, they don't call them that because they sat on their butts and collected. They worked hard, and we need to adopt that. And I do think there is a little bit of that coming back, you know.
Sure.
And who knows, maybe in 10 more years that we'll see a huge resurrection of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It gives you a little feeling of, okay, maybe we are turning to bend it, or the pendulum is starting to swing the
Swing,
other
yeah.
way. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see after
Yeah.
the election. We'll see what's going on. But
I don't want to jinx this and be premature.
well, it's going to be jinxed. Sometimes I think one of the big things that the youth, the young people, especially college-age people, were hoping for is that Obama would give them completely free things and completely free stuff, and it didn't work out that way. They realized they did have to work, and they're willing to.
And then
And-
they see their parents' insurance prices going up, and in some cases doubling. Sure, that's going to
doubling,
affect them.
73% hike from the age of 20 to 26.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
boy.
And I mean, within that 6 years, even between 18 and 35, if they started at 25, that 6 years is going to cross them out of where they're still covered through their parents, through Obamacare, and they are beginning to have to pay for it.
Right.
They're the ones who are going to have to pay that high premium, and where's that money going to come from?
Them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
that's how do you get them to care? You hit them in the
Exactly.
wallet, you know.
The other thing is that they want a chance. They want a chance. And a lot of things in government right now, and the way it's working, they don't want you to have a chance. They want you to live off of them. The government wants you, dependent on them. And they are saying, wait a minute, we don't want to be dependent on anything but what we're doing too. So hopefully we'll start to see that. Once we start to see that, then there is hope. Because I'll tell you what, I believe what Dennis Miller said. I'm going to vote, but I don't know why.
Yeah, no, 100%.
that's-
You know, you're
Yeah.
just so sick of hearing the.
You know, it reminds me of, I guess, Switzerland would be a good place. What is it, 4 or 5 day work days in a week?
Yeah.
Minimum wage is something like $20 an hour.
Holy cow.
Rent is very low.
Free
And these-
health care.
Yeah, free health care. And people say, my God, why can't we be just like them? I mean, they do it. How do they do it? And one thing you have to sit down and point to these people out is look at the amount of tax they pay.
Which is it's something like 40, not 50% almost.
Right,
for the
exactly.
average person.
France.
Oh, there's another great
France,
example.
if you make more than $1 million a year, the $1 million is the cutoff point. Do you know that in France? You pay 75%.
Holy
Ouch.
cannoli.
You didn't know that, did you?
no.
Oh, you should. Yeah, you should. I seen
that's
Magic
why I don't live in
Johnson.
France.
I seen Magic Johnson on a talk show one time, and he was saying, "Well, it's okay. You could pay more." Oh no, it's Will Smith. I'm sorry. Will Smith was saying, "Yeah, well, I could pay a little bit more," and they said, "Well, why don't you pay what France is paying? If you made more than $1 million last year, you pay 75% taxes."
That's
Even the look on his
750,000.
face was like,
Yeah.
750,000 exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So you can imagine.
wild.
That's the argument we have when people tell us, "Hey, look, America sucks, and we need a social system," which is the way it's been going. Thank God, though, people are starting to realize. Thank God, some of these kids in these schools are starting to see past their teachers. I mean, heck, if the teachers really were that good, would they be teaching?
Well, exactly.
Okay,
And I'm
not putting down
not
teachers.
right.
Maybe I'm putting down certain
Well,
professors.
it's more, I think you're going off of the saying, those who can't do teach. And it's not like that's something that, we're not saying it to be negative, but it is a saying. And it wouldn't be a saying if it was total malarkey.
Yeah.
And there are obviously, just like there's good, 99% of cops are good cops.
There's always a
99%
little
of
truth in a
teachers are
good
good.
joust.
Yeah, especially the
jest.
two that are my nieces. They're very good teachers.
There you go. See?
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Hey, we haven't even taken
I was
a
going
break
to say we
yet
should
for-
probably take a snack break. And we'll be right back
A la
with more
snack
on
break?
the firing line. Oh my goodness. Yeah, let's do
You're
it.
listening to On the Firing Line on the information station.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local
The
ladies.
store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
Have you been looking for a new or used motorcycle or all-terrain vehicle?
With a staff that has a combined 270 years of experience to inspire and help you make that informed decision.
Santa Maria Motorcycles is your one-stop shop, and their mission is to provide you with that ultimate experience.
They also have rentals, so you can take that ride you have been dreaming of up the coast.
They're located at 2022 Presker Lane in Santa Maria, or give Chris and his team a call at 805-928-3668. Again, that's 805-928-3668.
We're happy to have a special guest here today at the Plumbing Talk Studios, Jeremy Griffin, owner of Griffin Plumbing in Orcutt. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Jeremy, the reason your plumbing company is called Griffin Plumbing is that your last name is, in fact, Griffin.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable! Griffin, just like the legendary creature with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle.
Yeah.
What a brilliant move, Jeremy.
I'm a genius.
To name your plumbing company after this majestic creature. A creature known not only to have divine power, but also to be a protector from all things evil.
Well, it is my last name.
Audience, listen carefully. If your plumbing devices are threatened in any way, I implore you to seek the power and protection of the Griffin.
We're always here to help. Just give us a call.
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
Welcome back to On the Firing Line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani.
That's right. You are back on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. Give us a call at 1-888-625-1440. Or if you're in the Santa Maria area, call us at 928-1440. All right. What do we got next on the menu?
So we're still talking about voting here on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
A lot of stuff going on. Another thing we were talking about before the show, actually I was talking with a friend of mine at the shop, and I brought it up with everybody here in the radio shop here. And that is, while California is largely a Democratic state, and we probably won't change that too much, there's one vote that is going to be very important to us, and that's going to be the governor.
Mm-hmm.
The governor for the state of California, if we were to get rid of Brown and we actually put a Republican in the seat, we can hope that Republican would veto any anti-gun bills, and most likely would in most cases, unless, of course, we get a Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
And I think, Connie, you were the one stating, we still don't even know what the incumbent, what his political views are, right?
Oh, you mean Neil Kashkari?
Right.
Yeah, he really hasn't been too outspoken about what his gun beliefs are and what he would plan to do. And I recall a while back when we had the early elections earlier this year that he stated that was not what he was going to campaign on, was gun issues, that they were mostly going to be other sort of wide mainstream types of things that wasn't related to it at all. So I was kind of surprised, frankly, given that was really heated, throughout most of the year, that Governor Brown was kind of 50-50 on a lot of stuff.
Right.
I wonder if he was doing that because he knows how a lot of Californians vote, and he didn't want to have that be the death of his campaign right off the bat.
That makes sense, because if he starts banging the drum about guns, that's going to cut off a large percent right off the bat for him.
Which is so ridiculous. People can't see past that.
Well, yeah, but if they could see past it, we wouldn't have to have this show. And there's just if it's a new governor, maybe if they don't veto stuff, then maybe at least they'll stop pushing making up all this new stuff and letting it go through.
Yeah,
we have to pretend that it can get better. At least think that it can.
Yeah, overall, it very well could get better. he could cut back on a lot of the excess spending and kind of curb some of those types of things that Democrats are really freewheeling about. But guns was definitely one of the issues he did not speak on, which I thought was kind of strange.
And especially since it's a hot button issue.
Yeah.
But that, that might be the reason he didn't mention it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's saving it because maybe it means something to him, but he just doesn't want to put it out there that, hey, this is one of the things I'm running for. But, then who knows? Maybe he won't even mention it, and then he'll get in there and then be totally pro-gun. I mean,
no, that's a really good point.
He might be a sleeper, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, so that those of you who are just joining us on the show, just kind of give you a heads up, what we're talking about is the United States Senate elections for 2014. It's a series of elections that will be held on November 4th, where the 33 Class II seats in the 100-member United States Senate will be contested. The elected senators will have 6-year terms from January 3rd, 2015 to January 3rd of 2021. Additionally, special elections are being held to fill 3 vacancies in other classes that occurred during the 113th United States Congress. These elections mark 100 years of different elections of the U.S. senators currently. There are 36 Senate seats to be decided in November 21st. And those now held by members of the Democratic Party and 15 by the members of the Republican Party. And polls and other factors led forecasters in early October to predict that the Republicans would win several seats, with most predicting the party was likely, but not certain, to win at least the 6 seats necessary to take control of the Senate. Now, can you imagine having control of the House and the Senate? Will America finally be able to move forward? Will we be able to accomplish something? Or will the president simply veto?
That's a good question. I'd like to think if we have all that power on both sides that we could make something happen. But there's always that one guy who's got the seat higher than them that, that can put that red stamp on there.
Well, I think one thing good, too, that we have to keep in mind is if the House and the Senate is controlled by the Republicans, even if the president vetoes something, can't they go back and revote and get it pushed through?
They can.
Do you guys know the answer to that?
I don't know.
they
the
can
How about
answer to
you,
that.
Jim? If the president is surrounded by a House and a Senate that are all Republican, and he tries to veto something they push through, can they not go back and vote on it and have it pushed through anyways?
No, they can't override his veto because they don't have overriding veto power yet. You have to be 60% of the Senate has to vote yes on that. In other words, they have to have the caucus first. The caucus, they have to go take it back to the original committee,
Right.
and that has to vote 60%.
Okay.
And then the Senate has to go 60% to override the veto. 65%. I'm sorry.
That would be to override a
65%
veto.
to override. Yeah, that's the only way you can do it. You can take a bill back. If a bill has been vetoed by the president, it can go back into committee.
Okay,
And then-
that was my question.
And then you can rewrite the bill and put it back, but it's a totally different bill now. It's different.
It'll have a
So
different number.
instead
Everything.
of
Right.
Bill 1-2, it's now Bill 3-4.
Yeah, because once a veto bill is vetoed, unless you have overriding veto power,
then it's
still
okay,
you have
it's
to
the
change.
Same,
right. Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the
Same
bill has been, in other words, considered dead.
So there is a great chance if we do gain control of both the Senate and the House that we can actually get a lot done in this
Have you ever
country.
seen Schoolhouse Rock?
Oh yeah.
That they tell you how a bill goes through.
As a matter of fact, I just posted that up to my Facebook the other day.
How a bill gets passed.
Yep. That's a throwback.
And you know what? You
Yeah,
know how
right.
accurate that is?
It was
That's
right on.
100% accurate.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happens.
I had to watch that many times.
Well, in civics class in 8th grade, we didn't get to see it. I didn't get to see it till I was in high school, but I remember seeing it go, yeah, that's exactly what it happens, man.
You know what they don't have these days? Civics class in 8th grade.
Yeah, I know. And
Which
you
is
don't have
ridiculous.
to pass the test to get out of high school anymore, do you?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds like that's very
We had to
possible,
know the
especially with
preamble.
Common Core.
You had to memorize the preamble and recite it orally from memorization to get out of 8th grade.
We should almost go back to that. Now,
I almost remember
the only
it.
thing
We,
you
the
need
people
to
of the United
pass
States
8th
in order to
grade
form more
is to be able to run 2 miles under a certain amount of minutes.
Right?
As long as you know new math.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, huh?
That's some crazy stuff.
Well, whatever it is, it's just go back to normal math. It seemed to have worked fine. I'm just saying.
Well, you know, as technology gets bigger and
Technologizes.
technology becomes more part of our society, I think that there will be needs and change of math to make sure that the younger generation is prepared to be able to handle these new technologies.
Because
to be able to
everybody
do
has a
things-
calculator on their phone now, so is that what you're saying? So
Yeah,
they
I was going
need
to make a joke about that
They
too.
need to learn because most kids now are going to pull up their iPad or their apps or whatever and just enter those numbers and boom, that's the answer. You know, that used to, you know, for instance, when we were in school, we couldn't have a calculator on the desk with a math test unless, you know, once you got into, you know,
Higher
college
math, yeah.
or junior college, then they allowed you. But those were like those TI-82 gnarly calculators. That,
You had to take a class to learn how to use one
yeah, I
of
was
those
gonna
things.
say,
They're so
I-
complex.
Yeah, I still barely knew how to. They barely could help me because they were so complex.
But now that's what our kids are using in junior high and high school.
Yeah, that's
It's
wild.
crazy. Unbelievable. If you go onto our Facebook page, Kanani actually posted a link so that you can get the rating for each and every one of the House and Senate Assembly people out there, so that you can kind of get an idea of what the NRA thinks of them, you know, if they're gun friendly or if they're not. I think that that's a good place to start in your research to try to figure out, you know, if that person is for you or not. And then, of course, if you have the time and if you are willing to take the responsibility, you can go back and look up each one of these individuals and take a look at what their voting record is, especially the one that represents you in your area. You know, take a look, see if you can make that difference. So there's going to be a lot going on, you know, and this goes as far as your towns, your local cities that you live in.
Yeah.
A lot of council members are going to be coming up for votes and stuff like that. I know here in this area, I'm going to be throwing my vote for Etta Waterfield. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I believe
I'm
in
not
her
in the
and
city.
what she does. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But you need to do that due diligence and make that decision on your own. And that's what it's all about.
Well, also you have Capps and
Mitchum.
Mitchum.
Mitchum and I can never pronounce his name.
Which one?
The others, the
Just say his
33rd
name and I'll
district.
know which
33rd
one.
district. It's Akajeji.
Kachko Abadjian.
Yeah, right.
One more time?
Kachko Abadjian.
Abadjian. That's it,
Yeah.
Abadjian.
Kachiko Abadjian.
Yeah, he's our representative for the California 33rd, right?
Okay.
33rd district, of California.
district, yeah.
He used to be on the San Luis Obispo.
Is that on city council?
No, I think he was on the. I think he was a supervisor. I think he was the 3rd district supervisor for in San Luis Obispo County. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it was 3rd or 4th, but he was a supervisor. From what I understand, I don't know the guy that much, except for what I've read about, a little bit of I read about him. But he was an excellent supervisor. He's probably one of the best they ever had up there. That's why, with a name like that, you still get elected.
Yeah.
It's a hard name, man. It is a very difficult name.
Unlike Caps.
Caps. Somebody should, put a cap on her. I'll tell you that much.
I'll tell you what, listening to the commercials that
put her
she
back
has
in the
out,
bottle, snap the cap on, and
she said she wasn't going to be there, but for a few terms anyways.
16 years later.
Yeah,
Right.
no kidding.
Would you leave a $193,000 a year job?
Well, obviously I wouldn't leave it. I mean, but I don't know.
Don't vote for me, and I approve this commercial.
My wife
Doesn't
laughs
come
at
across very
that.
well, does it?
Exactly.
But you know what? I hate the commercials that I hear from her.
Dude.
It's oh my god.
The one that she plays against Mitchum is so clearly cut.
gosh,
They cut his voice when he's like, "I am not going to Washington to represent the district,
The 24th district,
the 24th district," and then it cuts.
Right.
And that's not what he was saying. It's pretty obvious that he was not done talking there.
He hasn't put out a
lot of it
commercial.
out of context.
I got something in the mail from him though.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's my first. Did you get? Connie's laughing.
Oh no.
Did you get
I
something?
just had a funny thought in my head while
Oh.
you were talking, Matt. But
Oh yeah, I finally got something in the mail.
I
about
haven't
him.
seen anything yet.
That's all I got. Was one little flyer.
I've talked to one person that said, "Oh yeah, he's got a commercial out." It's like, okay, where is it? What is
A
it?
UHF
I don't
channel or
remember.
something. Well, he's not on KUHL because I listen. I haven't heard him on here.
I haven't seen or heard anything about it. It's just the flyers we've been getting for the last month and month.
Well, that Caps
So-
ad is pretty much pro Mitchum to me because I'm like, well, the way she slams him. I mean, all I
She
learned.
doesn't have any money. She's not rich at all, except for the money she makes from.
She makes doing-
But where's she getting all those? I mean, I'm getting the Caps thing every single
Wait.
day.
Caps is not making any money.
I mean, the money it takes to run. I mean, some of those pamphlets are very expensive.
Her son is getting into trouble for money and stuff, and she's getting into it. Insider information. That's how she makes her money.
Oh, really?
At least that's my opinion.
Oh,
throw that in real quick.
Oh,
Which is a
okay.
very
I thought you
good
had
and
something.
educated
I thought you
opinion.
had
I
a
was
way
like,
on
you
it.
go straight
Yeah,
on
I was
shrimp
thinking the
boil.
same thing. Holy
We
cow!
were gonna go dipping into this.
You know what? We did a show on that once. I'll have to see if I can find
You're
some
talking
of that
about the.
information.
Oh, that's right. I remember that, Joe. You're right. But I
Yeah.
don't remember what we found. To be
I'll have
factual.
to bring the stuff back, but
Yeah.
her son's been in trouble lately. So, and it's information that he's obviously getting through her.
I want to know how old was she? How old she is? She
I keep
looks
her old.
80.
I don't want-
but I'm not saying.
103
She's definitely close, very, very close to 80.
or 80.
So
Well,
if
she
she
probably
wins, we won't
81
have to
or
worry about
79.
it.
I'm saying, you know.
Yeah. Close
Unless
to
she
80.
lives to be 120 years old.
Her husband was a retired religious professor at UCSB, and he was there for 30 years. I mean, and that was 20 years ago when he first got elected, because she took over his position because unfortunately he passed away outside the airport in Washington.
That's how she got the vote and got in the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Then she's been a shoo-in ever since, right?
And we used to have the best representation before them. We had Andrea Seastrand, and before that we had her husband Eric Seastrand, who were great to this. Eric Seastrand was the best we ever had in this county. He was really. He used to have town. And he was a Republican, obviously, but he used to have town meetings. He used to get out with the people. He would literally get out with the people and talk about the issues, talk about things that were going on. What did he want? He really wanted to accomplish something, and so did Andrea. And they treated. I remember the television commercials about her. They had her in this like she had been crying or something. Picture in the. Do you remember those? I don't know if you guys remember that. It's 20 years ago now. Over 20 years ago. And me and her talked about it one time because I used to work with her. And she talked about that. She said that devastated her. And then they sued her. You know, they personally sued her the first time she won, because she won and they wanted a recount. They made a recount twice,
Oh my gosh!
And because she only won like by 300 votes the first time.
Sore
and
losers.
then they recounted and she won by 700.
I gotta love that.
Yeah, or whatever it was, I don't remember. But man, she said that devastated her. That picture they put up there every day, it devastated her, and it made her look like she's a very pretty woman. Very pretty woman, and she looked like
unbelievable the amount of hate that is out there.
Yep. Has anybody heard any updates from the Caps? They had that Christmas party last year where one of the people killed
one of her assistants. Yeah, was drunk driving.
Yeah, the DUI. Yeah, he went to jail.
He went because I know that Caps, they kind of immediately separated themselves from that.
Well, I don't know why. He was head of their office in Santa
Barbara. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was friends with the young girl who was killed, unfortunately. So I'm just curious if anything else.
Yeah, he went to jail.
Up. Yeah, but nothing ever happened to.
It was never
Cap.
in the paper. You have to look for it. I think there was a clip I remember reading a little clip that came across the wire at KSBY or something.
Because he was leaving a Caps party, and he was in a Caps vehicle, and.
Oh, I didn't know he was in a Caps vehicle.
Well, to my understanding, that's what I thought it was. I could be wrong, but anyway, I was just wondering. So yeah, he went to jail.
That would have been a hell of a commercial.
No, just her non-performance is enough.
Yeah,
we don't have to bring up.
No, it's not enough.
Horrible stuff, but
his great performance got him a whole bunch of votes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that her non-performance.
You're right. What am I saying?
Come on, you live in California.
Oh gosh, you're right, Joe. What am I thinking? The guy gets arrested for gun running and still gets 270,000 votes.
That's right. Welcome to California.
Yeah. He's got it like that.
Don't
good.
eat the crackers.
Yeah.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
No Soylent Green here.
Don't eat the crackers.
It's people.
Dang. What time we got here? We got 4:42. We should probably take one more quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more. One of the things we want to talk about before today's show ends will be about support for new gun control laws plummets, especially among women. We'll be right back with you on the firing line.
We'll be back to more of On the Firing Line with Joe and Jim after this.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
On the air with the Midnight Mystic is one of our regular callers, truck driver Charlie.
Boy, I just seen another one, Midnight Mystic.
Another Griffin, Charlie?
I'm telling you, they're all over the Central Coast now.
How long have you been on the road now, Charlie?
2, 5, 8 weeks, I don't know.
Perhaps you should park the truck and get some sleep, and maybe the Griffins will disappear.
Well, there it is again. I'm going after it.
What does it look like, Charlie?
Holy mackerel. It's got the body of a lion and the head of an eagle.
Is it flying, Charlie?
It's on the side of a white truck.
Is it a Griffin plumbing truck, Charlie?
Could be. I don't know. I'm pulling right up to it.
We seem to have lost contact with Charlie, but I'm sure he'll be okay because Griffins, just like the good folks at Griffin Plumbing, are here to protect and serve. In fact, if your plumbing devices are threatened in any way,
call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the firing line with Joe, Matt, and Kanani. Be a part of today's show by calling 888-625-1440. Or if you're in the Santa Maria area, please call 928-1440.
We are back on the firing line. This is the truth, throwing truth darts into faces. So, we were going to talk about, what is this? Support for new gun control law plummets among women. Kanani, I blame you. Fix this.
Well, I think you might have read that or interpreted that a little wrong. The support for gun control plummets, especially amongst women, given that women are not supporting gun control.
Why not? Why aren't you?
Because that's really lame. No, no. I think that the latest statistics are showing that women are going to be the fastest growing number of gun owners throughout the country, and for good reason, given that it's probably one of the best equalizers against anybody who's going to be aggressively attacking and or stalking, or generally I think that women are seen as victims, and it doesn't do us any harm in order to have something that would defend us against
it actually does you
those.
a whole bunch of good, actually.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And that's true. I mean, we've all seen it. There is quite an influx.
Yeah.
So, who do we got on the line there? Dan, how you doing today?
Hey, how you guys doing?
I'm doing all right.
And your gal there, what's her name?
Kanani.
Hey.
Hey, Dan.
I'll tell you what, this is a great show. I didn't get to hear the whole thing. I just tuned in now. It seems like every Saturday I'm out painting a car radio. So, at any rate, no, this thing on Lois Capps. What a horrible ad she had against Chris Mitchum.
Oh yeah, it's you can tell how cheesy and cheap it is. I mean, is it clear to you too that all they're doing is cutting off his words in the middle of his sentence?
No, he said he wasn't going to he's not going there to bring us baseball fields. He's going there to bring us change.
Right.
And bring the stuff, man. But I mean, that is probably the worst ad I've ever heard. And the other thing about her is she's a liar, because when she went there, when her husband died, which is actually, as far as a Democrat, he was pretty good, and I'm sorry I can't think of his name right now.
Capps, we'll call him.
But he was good. He was actually pretty good, and he was like, Cacho occasion going across the aisle, and you got this Heidi, Harmon running against him. And I don't think Cacho will have a problem, because he's not spending a bunch of money. But, the whole thing is, hopefully the Republicans are going to go out and vote, because the turnout's going to be low.
Right, yeah, that's what Kanani was saying.
At, the NRA and the IRLA.
ILA.
Yep. I've been looking at them, and I've been telling all my friends, man, if you like guns, you better go out and vote against some of these guys.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can change California, which is going to really be hard, because it's
right. No, it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to happen with a snap of a finger, but this is a chance for us to start that change. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the show, you might have missed.
Yeah,
it almost seems like we're making that turn a little bit towards the right direction. As long as we can keep gaining momentum with this, who knows, maybe in 3 to 4 years, we might have a lot better stuff, a lot better Republicans in office. So I think you're right.
And the other thing is you do have Democrats that enjoy their firearms.
Oh, yeah, they transcend political lines. We say it here all the time.
Oh, yeah. I've been watching C-SPAN. They got the Democrats up there shooting shotguns and stuff. I'm going, what are you shooting at? I don't see any clay pigeons or.
That's because that's the Joe Biden way to shoot.
But
you just shoot your shotgun. That's Joe Biden. Just 2 rounds and that's it. That's what they were doing. They were practicing.
No, you go out there, you get an intruder. Just go out there and just fire a couple of shotgun rounds. But now, wait a second. if I got a double barrel, I just dump both my rounds. Now I have nothing to protect myself with.
Well, you got a fine club.
Well, anyway, hey, you guys keep it up, man. I hope we get the vote. I really hope we get the vote. And California is just not going to be the state, but the other states, I hope we take the Senate.
Well, we're gonna try. The biggest thing is for all of us to get out there and check the right box, the correct box, the one that makes sense.
The whole thing is if you appreciate your Second Amendment, you better go vote. That's all.
Yep, that's the truth. Yep, there it
You
is.
appreciate
Dan,
any of your
Dan
rights.
throwing truth darts around.
That's
Careful
it.
with
Hey,
those things.
You guys keep up the good work.
All right, you too, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Bye-bye.
All right.
I mean, I think in the voting department, there's something that probably isn't said enough, is that all of these people who hold positions in the Senate and in the House, all of those politicians are put there because people have voted for them. So the only way to remove them is to either
The
vote
same
against
way,
them,
yeah.
like, and or find other people who are willing to oppose them and
you
vote
have
for them.
to fight
I would
fire
like
with
to
fire.
believe that.
Huh?
Really,
Go
I'm
on.
very serious about this. Well, I watched a guy stuff a ballot box on YouTube, and I mean, there was at least 2,000 or 3,000 votes that he had in that box, and he was just stuffing this ballot box full of these ballots. And I was thinking, man, I remember Chicago and Acorn when you know the old saying there, vote often and vote early.
Yeah.
You know, and this was true. Acorn was doing that.
Right.
I mean, they don't know how many votes that Acorn put in for other people for other things until a couple of people got their dog. They got their dog.
Their dog registered to vote and had them go.
Right.
To
Well, not vote. They got their ballot in the mail. How did my dog get a ballot? Well, somebody registered your dog, lady, and they said,
Spartacus is very smart.
Well, they've actually had reports of people, the electronic voting booths in Chicago that have been when you press the they press the Republican and it votes automatically.
And
for
they
the
also
Democrat.
had like the Black Panthers. Well, they don't exist anymore, but all kinds of stuff was happening in the 2010 election.
Yeah. Well, this electronic voting was just recently within the last
Yes.
week where they're having early voting in other states.
Yeah, I
and
know.
you
I've
can
seen
go.
that. Yeah.
So
Unbelievable that.
So I don't
that
know
happens.
if we're getting the right vote out there.
Maybe Barack Obama didn't really win.
Dun, 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 dun.
No, we got changed.
You heard it here first.
Because then they'll go back to Bush didn't really win.
Oh, God. Florida.
But you know what the thing of it was? Is he did really win because the concession phone call from what's his mug to President Bush is actually a win. I don't know if people understand that. I heard people say, well, blah, blah, blah. They go, you know what? He actually told him, I'm conceding to you. Called him up on the phone and said, I concede.
So
that's the end of it right there.
That's it. You lose.
Counts or
no
not.
matter. Doesn't count.
At
They
that
turn
point,
that
you
around.
can stop counting.
Because he didn't do it officially, but he did. And actually, when you tell your opponent, hey, congratulations, I'm conceding that you won,
yeah.
that is an official defeat.
Right.
Whether anybody knows that. And I watched some, famous
Verbal
photograph
contract pretty
guy
much here,
say,
huh?
oh, yeah, well, yeah, legitimate president. I go, you...
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Almost like somebody trying to tell you that our economy is better today than it was.
No,
yeah. Almost like somebody telling you Obama is so much better than Bush ever was, and that our economy is now booming better than Bush ever
There's
was.
some fat that you chew on that's just really gristly, and you just
Yeah.
gotta chew it for days and days and days.
Totally.
Then there's some fat, that just melts in the mouth.
And others that
that's
give you a
prime
sour
example.
stomach.
Oh, man. Sad but true,
God.
man. But there's really people out there that think that. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, yeah, well, they do. They do. They have their
people out
opinions.
there that legitimately think that our country is 100% better off today than it was when Bush was in office. And that's the end of it. They don't have any reason why. They don't have any backup. They have nothing. But that's what they think, and they wholeheartedly think it. Maybe even to the fact that they'd argue with you.
Was Osama bin Laden really executed?
This is the same type of people that will argue that with you all day long. Well, I did see a missile hit the Pentagon. I did. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's funny how a plane flying really fast hitting
It's funny
something
how
looks
fuselage
like a missile.
looks like a missile, yeah.
I heard a guy on the radio say that Bush directed those planes, and he's also said that the hurricane or the problem in Katrina was totally his fault. That there was a bomb set
in the levee. I've heard that.
Did
crap.
you hear that from a famous director?
That is
this is a director of motion pictures who
who's
won
probably
Academy
Spike
Award.
Lee or something.
I will not say.
Well, if I had to guess, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but just because they make movies doesn't make them right.
Yeah,
Amen.
I mean, it doesn't make them smart either.
Yeah, otherwise they'd be working for the History Channel. Oh man!
All right, you
That just
guys got to
reminded
go
me of
around and tell who you're
RoboCop.
voting for.
Yeah.
Who you guys are voting for?
Actually, I wanted to go over one more thing with the support for new gun control laws plummets.
Let's do it.
Especially among women. And one thing that I think that I've noticed, Kanani, you'll probably have to tell me if I'm off my rocker or
You're
not.
off your rocker. No.
There we go.
Go ahead.
All right. We've seen a lot of ads coming out from Bloomberg and different things how a woman can't handle a gun.
Yeah.
A woman will lose the gun and she'll have it used against her. And we need to make sure that there's less guns on the
Wait a
streets.
minute. What about the Republicans' war on women? Hey, what happened to that?
Well, I think that that's just it. Is the Democrats have brought in so much attention to firearms, and they're telling women what they can and can't do in a sense, and it's turning them off to that party. I think in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, I would agree with you in that respect. The Democrats, I think, have a lot of telling women what to do just in general. You know, they can't afford
This
their
is
own
what's
birth
best for
control.
you.
Exactly. And I really don't see that much as being the promoting strong women and promoting them to be confident and independent.
That's a
And
good
all
point.
of those ideas of the feminism movement has been, trying to, but not to say that I think feminism is correct, but that's always been their push of what they think the ideal woman is. It's definitely a complete opposite as to what they've been saying, to say now that suddenly that we're completely helpless and we can't, figure out how to shoot a gun.
It's going.
It's a very mixed message.
No, I totally get that. Or I don't get it. But yeah, it is. They're saying one thing over here and then doing the opposite, and it's just it's snowballing.
Yeah.
But that.
It's a little confusing, to say the least. But while you were talking, I was remembering a while back I saw a video from James Yeager talking about how women, how you should choose your first gun.
Oh,
One of the
and
points he made
yeah.
was, well, if a woman can drive a car, she can absolutely figure out how to shoot a gun.
Yeah, if they can drive a car, put on makeup, talk on the phone, then they can
Right,
load a
and they
gun
can
and press
figure
the
out
trigger.
exactly.
And what that's saying is if you're a guy and you can't figure out how to drive a car, you probably can't shoot a gun.
That is true.
But for real,
But
though,
no, it is a good point that he makes on that video, and it's and it even titles the video like "Women are too weak to shoot a gun."
too dumb or something
And because it
yeah.
makes you want to look at it, and then you watch it, and the argument is not that saying that women are too dumb or weak. It's the exact opposite.
Right.
It's saying, look, a lot of these ladies are smarter than these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just give them a chance, and that's that.
Yeah.
It doesn't take some act of God. All you guys got to do, you're capable of doing it just like a guy is, just like anybody is.
Yeah, no, exactly. The basic fundamentals of shooting are going to be the same whether or not you're a guy or whether or not you're a girl.
Right.
When you're telling me you can't figure out how to press the trigger properly in a slow and smooth manner. You don't know how to rack a slide or put the bullets in pointy face forward.
Grip the gun and control recoil.
Exactly. And I would say in some cases that if you look at a very small or petite male, there's some of those butch women. But I mean, there's some of those butch women who are,
Metro all the way. Wait, maybe that's a little beyond the measure of Metro. Petite.
I get it.
Refers to.
Petite, yeah.
Yes, petite. That's what it
I'm glad I
refers
don't have to go any
Like
further in that. You guys don't understand what I'm trying to say.
Petite filet mignon. But it's a good point. If you have a guy that weighs 100 pounds and a girl that weighs 100 pounds, they're both gonna have the same difficulties shooting and both have the same advantages.
Exactly.
Well, it's funny you say that because we used to have Molly come into the store and she'd help with the ladies and stuff. Molly is when she first came in, she was 13 years old. And she was shooting for Smith & Wesson, a .357 Magnum.
Yep.
And I'd have girls come in and say, I can't hold this gun. It's too big. It's too
so
heavy. And I'd look at them and I'd tell them about Molly, and then they'd get this surge of, I can do it in them. And then they'd start doing it. And it's all about mindset. And I think that's what a lot of this comes down to. Heck, mindset really has a lot to do with the way we live our lives, how we engage with people, how we engage with our state, our country, everything.
Yeah.
It has a huge part of it, especially with our children. And so we cannot live our lives blindly by what we've been told but more with our eyes open with what we've accomplished.
Yeah, and I think that you're really going somewhere with what you're talking about with Molly. I mean, she is a small, petite girl, and I think that when women see other women doing, working with firearms, training, shooting well, competing, and going somewhere and winning these competitions, that they get inspired to be able to do that themselves. When they see that example, they're very willing and will quickly jump on to say, yeah, I can do that too because so-and-so else is doing it. Right. And I don't think that's necessarily the case with guys. Per se, I mean,
because guys have the ego that it starts
right
off the bat. It's a little bit different, I think. So, but hey, thank you for listening to the show, and don't forget to set your clocks back. I believe 1 hour, and fall back. Yeah, do not do the other thing.
Do not spring forward. Fall back.
Fall backwards. And everybody, I hope you had a happy and safe Halloween. Stay tuned next week on the Firing Line. Matt, Joe, Kanani.